All right, looks like we had a couple more people join. If you joined since I was grabbing a coffee, go ahead and type in chat where you're joining from today, and also head to the URL that is on the screen so that you're able to access the workshop content today. We are going over a lot of info, so it's going to be a bit difficult to follow along, but you will be able to access it afterwards so you can go through all of the content again on your own. Um, there is a lot. All right, so we've got 16 attendees now. All right, I am going to go ahead and get started today. All right, let me move some windows around so that I can see. All right. So, hello. Welcome to monitor and analyze critical user flows with synthetic and real user monitoring. We're just going to call it RUM and the synthetics workshop for brevity. We'll talk a little bit about what each of those mean in just a bit. So hopefully you're here to learn about that. We have 3 hours today. We'll see. Hopefully you get a little time back. We'll see how fast I talk. Also, if I talk too fast, please let me know. I do have the tendency to speak fast, but I'll try and keep it slow. So my name is Rachel White, and I am a developer advocate here at DataDog. That means that I get to do workshops like this, speak and work with community and just help educate people about DataDog. And my specialty is front end, specifically RUM. I've been in tech for about 14 years, and prior to being a developer advocate, I was a full stack dev. So I've worked everywhere across the stack. I just prefer front end because it's fun for me, at least. And I'm really excited to be teaching you about this stuff today. We are going to cover a lot of ground today. Don't worry about trying to memorize everything that we're talking about. It'll all be available after we leave. The main theme of today's workshop should be how can we combine synthetic and real user monitoring to make sure you understand what your users are actually doing, what they're actually experiencing, and get to the bottom of what's impacting your user journeys. But more importantly, the number one thing that I hope you can walk away with today is inspiration. So as we go through the workshop, take a moment to ask yourself, how could this tool make my job easier? Because that's really what we're looking to do here, help you work better or do better and work smarter. There will be a break in the middle, so feel free to be able to grab water, though. If you need to at any time, obviously do that. A couple things before we get started. We have a couple people helping out answer questions today. Alex and Austin, who have said hi in chat, will be able to field any of the questions that you have in the Q&A box or any questions that you have in chat. I probably won't be able to keep up with everything in chat just because there is so much to cover, but I will do my best at making sure that everybody gets their questions answered. Also, so please use Google Chrome for today's workshop because we'll need it to record our synthetic browser tests. And if you can't use Chrome for some reason, you just have to follow along during the browser test. But the rest of the workshop today is totally browser agnostic. And also, if you just use Chrome, then it's easier for the TAs to be able to troubleshoot anything that you come across. So here's a direct link to that browser extension if you want to go ahead and set it up. There's also a link in the workshop's instructions, so you can grab it there as well. I will pause on this for a moment so that everyone is able to type that in. All right. Also, part of our workshop is going to involve testing an ad service in our demo application, and we'll need you to disable your ad blockers for the demo app, or you won't be able to properly see and test the issue with the ad service. So if you could go ahead and pull up the workshop, click the launch button, that would be great. We'll let the lab environment spin up. It's got to set up a bunch of stuff for us in the background while I talk for just a little bit. So I actually am going to do that as well. Before I forget, we can all click launch together. And then I'm going to also toggle the sidebar because we don't really need the left side of that. All right, where did my mouse go? There it is. All right, so all of that fun stuff out of the way, let's dig into why we're actually all here today. So there are two big topics that we are going to cover: synthetic monitoring, which I'm going to refer to as synthetics, and real user monitoring, which I'm going to refer to as RUM from now on. Synthetics and RUM are both methods of monitoring your application's performance, but they differ in how they monitor and what that data can tell you. So synthetics are a simulated test where automation makes requests to your API endpoints or simulates a user in the browser, similar to something like Puppeteer or Playwright, or depending on which ecosystem you're coming from, Selenium, if you're familiar with those. So basically, it's just an emulated browser with a simulated user. Synthetics allow you to proactively monitor your application from multiple regions by testing your API endpoints and actual user journeys. And these monitors help reduce the time it takes to resolve an issue by providing insight into the context around the error with correlated traces and sessions. RUM monitors what your actual users are doing and how their experience is going. So are things slow? Are there JavaScript errors? When you're browsing a site and notice, hey, this thing is broken, RUM notices that too. RUM provides insight into your application's performance for real users. So as your users interact with the application, DataDog even helps you identify key user journeys to help you understand what might benefit from the most from proactive synthetic monitoring. You can even see the errors that they encounter in real time by watching a session replay. And as your users interact with the application, DataDog even helps you, oh, I just said that, sorry, my bad. And as your, users interact with the application, you can see those key user actions. RUM also combines metrics that you would expect from traditional analytics with deep insights into your application's performance and your user's experience. So you can think of synthetics as simulated interactions with your application. And you can think of RUM as real-world interactions with your application. Both are great ways to get insight into what's going on, but neither provides the full picture. But combining RUM and synthetics can help you understand more about your application, your users, and how the two are interacting with one another. So here's that workshop URL one last time, just in case you still haven't pulled it up and hit launch yet. And we are about to start. So let's wait. It's 14 after right now. We'll give it 2 minutes to make sure that everybody is able to go to this URL and hit launch. If you could type in the chat that everything's cool and you're able to do that, that would be awesome. If the URL does not work for you, could you let us know what it says or what the course availability is? Yeah. All right. Also, like I said before, don't worry, you'll still be able to access the content after this workshop broadcast is over. So we'll try and get you up and running on there. It seems like there's only one person who is unable to get there at the moment. One last thing to note before we dig in, there's also a tiny little help tab inside of the lab environment that has some instructions that can help you resolve some issues that we've seen crop up before when we do these workshops. This is a dynamic environment where lots of different things can cause little unexpected issues, and the system is under high load. If there's like multiple workshops going on, this is our workshop week. So, but usually there's some simple steps that can help you resolve them. So let's dig into the first part of our workshop where we'll show you a little bit about the lab environment and then get some hands-on with synthetics. It is not a break. I clicked advance and I did not mean to. All right. So, like I said, don't feel obligated to follow along. There is a lot of content to absorb. I feel like if you try and keep up with me, you will probably lose your place. Everything that I'm going to go over is written on the right-hand side here. I'm going to walk through it as if I was, experiencing this workshop on my own, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Raman synthetics as we go through and the features and all of that kind of stuff. I might need to pause a couple times because I have a cat that likes to walk over my keyboard and I am trying to manage multiple monitors at once here. So yeah, let me make this a little bit bigger. All right. So like I said, throughout this workshop, all of the sections will be broken down into a series of steps. You can navigate through them by clicking on the header here. If we get too far ahead and you can't figure out where we are, you're able to see the progress through this bar right here. And as you advance, you're able to move more through the sections. And like I said earlier, there is a part of this workshop that will only work with the Chrome browser extension. So let's get familiar with the lab environment. All of the workshop's instructions are in this side panel here. And then there are these following tabs on the left-hand side for instruct. The first one is terminal, where you're able to type things in here. We won't need to type that much. If there is something that you need to type in, it'll be on the right side and you can copy and paste it. In addition to that, there is the DataDog tab, which will take us to the DataDog app. I'm going to exit full screen. That way I can have my tabs. And so what I actually want everybody to do is I just closed the lab environment. Oh my goodness, 1 second. All right. Everything goes wrong, doesn't it? D23 wrong. All right, I'm resuming the course. Sorry about that. Now that I have to launch it, it's going to take a second for it to come back. But what I was going to say is if you have your lab environment open over there on the left side, you'll see, oh, I am in the wrong course. Thanks, Alex. My bad. Low. Resume that course. Okay, cool, good. We're still open here. All right, so you should see over here on the left-hand side, there is a username and credential for you. So if you click on that Datadog tab, it'll take you to the app where you can log in with the provided username and password. All of these accounts are just provisioned for the workshop environments. So make sure that you are not logged in to your personal accounts. We provision these so that we're able to have the lab environment available for you. And then as we get in, we'll be going through the different features of RUM and synthetics. The other tab in here is StoreDog, which is our e-commerce application that we'll be using for the workshop today. And you can open that up. If your lab environment hasn't fully loaded yet, you might be getting some errors. If that happens, let us know, but usually it should resolve within a few minutes because it's just everything spinning up so that you're able to see. So you can click around, check out some of our cool stickers, add it to cart, proceed to checkout, confirm purchase. All of this is, we're simulating the checkout process. So don't worry about having to fill out any of the payment information or any of that kind of thing. And then the help tab, which I mentioned that you might be able to resolve some issues if you run into them over the course of the workshop. So also in the workshop instructions, if there are things within the DataDog app that we are talking about, you will see them linked like this so that you can click it and load the right section of the UI or navigate to it on your own. And also throughout the workshop, some of the instructions will refer to a share button for the Datadog UI, and that looks like this. And it opens a menu of specific actions that you're able to access. We'll be able to specifically let you know what we're doing as we get through those steps. Also, there's some additional notes, which will look like this, and pro tips, which might be something that you didn't know, and we'll be able to help you learn more about the process. Also, we provide links to further reading about each section that we'll be going through. So like I said, don't feel obligated to keep up fully. You'll be able to come back and even get more access to things than I will be talking about. And then if you had it already, go ahead and log in to DataDog. If you don't see the username and password in the terminal, you can run this command, creds, C-R-E-D-S. And yeah, so if you haven't yet, go ahead and log into DataDog in a separate URL. Or in a separate tab. I'm sorry. And one thing that I want you to do is we want to make sure that the API key is the same as the credentials that we have provisioned for you. So if you navigate to API keys under organizational settings and check out the last four alphanumeric, I was going to say letters, but you know what I mean, of your API key and compare it to the last four that is displayed in the terminal. Make sure that they are the same. Is everybody okay with being able to log in into the app from the credentials that we have provided? If you are, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Like I said, make sure that you are logged out of other organizations. You can use the incognito window to escape single sign-on if you're running into issues with it. And you must use app.datadoghq.com. Your last four is not the same. Have you done any other workshops? I will let Alex help you get the right one or help you troubleshoot that. Let me also make sure that I can type in the chat. So yeah, make sure that you're logged in to the same account as well. I'm going to pause like 2 minutes before we move into the next section just to make sure that everybody is on the same page. We will move forward in like 2 minutes. We'll move forward at past. All right. Also, it may take a moment when we go through each section um, for the next one to load. That's normal. Right. So in the next stage that we are going to be covering, we are going to learn a little bit more about the application for the workshop, which is StoreDog. And so throughout the rest of the workshop, you're going to be assuming the role of the person that's managing the application. I feel like nobody uses the word webmaster anymore. So you're the dev, you're somebody that, you know, runs things. Imagine you're part of a larger team, but specifically this is going to be, very singular type of troubleshooting. I am also going to move this over a little bit so we can close some of these out. Yeah. So like I said, throughout this workshop, you'll be working with StoreDog. It's already been instrumented with DataDog, so you won't need to install anything. And yeah, so the workshop has automatically provisioned an example e-commerce app. We had you check it out already. It's also generated a new URL for you. You'll see if you click on it again, this should be a unique URL that is individual to everybody that is running that. So all of the data that we're getting is running for you, sort of. So it's so we can dig right in and start monitoring and analyzing without having to worry about configuring anything. So one thing that's really cool is since it's already automatically provisioned, if you log in or if you click on the APM service catalog here in the workshop instructions, you'll be able to see a lot of the services that we have up and running. So if we set the environment to user flows workshop, you'll be able to see the services that make up that application. And if we click on the map button here, you'll be able to see how those services interact with each other, which is pretty cool. This is just kind of like a big overview, but if you have experience with APM or are familiar with how all those services interact with each other, you'd be able to go in here and see. We'll be working with the discounts and the ads today for some of our examples. And that is actually all that this section is. So let's move forward. And now we're going to move on to actually diagnosing and resolving some of the issues that we're going to have running today with combining synthetic monitoring and real user monitoring. All right. So you may have experienced this social media. Somebody talks about your you know, application, and all of a sudden you start getting a lot of traffic. So this person tweeted, "This new cool bit sticker is dope." You can see like a lot of likes, a lot of retweets, a lot of interactions with that content. Um, but as a result of that, now we are getting an unexpected amount of traffic. And some people have been saying that there is issues with the performance. We instrumented StoreDog with DataDog so that we can hopefully identify and resolve some of those issues. So you may be familiar that the often quoted statistic, 53% of visits are abandoned if a mobile site takes longer than 3 seconds to load. But how do we know that our site is taking longer than 3 seconds to load for other visitors? You may have heard people say, "Works on my machine," which doesn't really help when you are trying to troubleshoot issues. And so there's many ways that you can measure that performance. But these metrics don't always accurately reflect the real world experience of users. So Google announced Core Web Vitals initiative in 2020 to measure performance metrics that impact user experience. There's largest contentful paint, LCP, which measures loading performance based on how long it takes for the largest bit of content on the page to render. Cumulative layout shift, CLS, measures stability based on how much the page changes while it's loading. So you may have like loaded a page, but not all of the elements have loaded yet. And then often, you'll see stuff move around and jump. And then also first input delay, which measures the interactivity based on how long it takes for the UI to respond to a user's first action. There's a lot of other common performance measures that we could talk about. Not all of them paint the full picture. Core Web Vitals has helped move the industry towards a more user-centered approach to performance. But, based off of whatever it is that your application services are running, whatever frameworks you're using, different things, your audience, it may be different depending on what's important to your business. So let's take a look at some of our user analytics. This stuff has been running a bit now, so we should be able to take a look and get some more insight into our users. So what I want you to do is click on the URL under Analytics. I'm going to close some of these and open our analytics summary. So if you get this page, what you need to do is just click this drop down up here and click on StoreDog. So you can see a lot of info here. Obviously, your numbers may be different. Don't worry about if they're not the same as mine. That's totally fine. You can see, average time spent on site, 2.3 minutes, total users, total sessions, total page views, a list here of the most visited pages. This one's pretty cool, though it's not going to have enough data to show accurately, but it shows like a trending popularity of page views compared to the previous week. All of this stuff is automatically generated for you. This is what we capture just by instrumenting. And so let's scroll down a little bit and take a look at usage overview. Oh, wait, I clicked the wrong thing. I am sorry. Oh, my bad. Okay, I lost my notes. Please, I apologize there's just so much content today. Okay. Yeah. So in the analytics summary, you can see that stuff at the top, and then down at the bottom here, there's the finding frustrations. We will go into frustrations a little bit later. They're really helpful to see like what kind of issues your users might be facing. in terms of interactivity or lack of interactivity with your website. And then up here at the top, you can also click on to view dashboard from the application, excuse me, application usage overview. And this is also all out of the box content that it generates. So there's a lot of really interesting things that you can do here. These are all able to be cloned, which will show you how to do that later in the workshop. You can clone the whole entire dashboard, be able to edit everything as you need. And I'm going to let you take a look at this dashboard for a minute or so and just be able to see a lot of the content that we get out of the box. You'll see down here our user demographics are Belgium. That's because that's where our scripts are running. So don't think that like we just have a lot of simulated Belgian users. There's also an engagement matrix, and we also give you a little bit more information about each of these sections that are given to you in the out-of-the-box dashboard here. Okay, we'll give you like 30 more seconds on this page. I'm going to drink some coffee. This view, if you lost where I got here from, you can either get there from going to the analytics summary, which is linked in the dashboard, or it's under UX monitoring analytics summary here on the left-hand side menu. And then the dashboard view is this box right here that says view dashboard for analyze user session and usage data. And that's how we got to there. Is everybody able to find the web app usage dashboard? Cool. So I'm sure that you could take a look at this and see like which of these provide value to what's important for your application. The next thing that we are going to take a look at is the performance summary page. This has core web vitals information, errors, deployments, user analytics, performance metrics, more error information, different deployments that you might have, and it also has analyzing API endpoints. So here in the Core Web Vitals widget, if you click on the More Performance Metrics button, it'll take you down here. It'll jump down the page to the Performance Metrics section. And you'll see here that we have the slowest views widget. And if we click on that, it'll take us to this page, which shows us all of our pages that have the slowest views. You can see that the one that is the slowest is our landing page, which, you know, is never great. So we know that the landing page is our top slowest page. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the performance summary page. And we are going to view the dashboard of the performance overview, much like how we did for the analytics dashboard. If you lost where that was from, it is also, you can get there from UX monitoring performance summary, which is this page, and click on view dashboard for the performance overview. So once you're on the web app performance dashboard, if you scroll down you can see, oh, sorry, Kitty. You can see the performance overview of the most popular pages. Here is our landing page. And if I click on that, I can click on view resources for that page. And if I scroll down a little bit, I can click on this little expand button and see a list of all my heaviest resources. So there's obviously a lot of JavaScript here. Those are taking a toll on my application. And then if I go into slowest resources, it looks like there is some JSON that is taking a bit to be called up. This can like help you get some insight into maybe like are some of the widgets that are some of the scripts that I have getting bundled incorrectly? Is there some services that are like being able to be called? It can help you cross-correlate with, tickets and be able to see what might be causing those slowest times. So let's close this one. And all right, Rick, no, stop. So what we're going to do now is, oh my goodness. So I see that like I have a lot of resources that are pretty slow. And what I'm going to do is click on share here. And since I have some slow resources, I want to declare an incident so that I am able to, let some of my other team members know that there's something going on with this stuff. So what I'm going to do is say this is slow incident or slow requests for products and services. And we're going to make this be a severity of 4. This is just the generated username that we gave. And I am going to declare an incident to be able to, let my teammates know that there is something going on. So now that you've explored some of the metrics that you're collecting with RUM and alerted your team to a potential issue, let's try and use synthetics to diagnose an intermittent bug with our application. So let's move forward to the next section. There's going to be a little pop quiz to make sure that we learned a little bit about Core Web Vitals. So you learned that Core Web Vitals are a collection of free performance measures that attempt to measure performance as it relates to user experience. Which of these is not a Core Web Vital? Does anybody want to guess or type in chat which one you think it is? That is right, Alex. It is first meaningful paint. Cool. So the next part is going to be about synthetic API monitoring. So you can see here that we have an email from our CEO. He says here, she or they say, team, really excited about the spike in sales from that tweet, but why aren't our ads loading? Let's capitalize on that traffic. So traffic good, ads broken. This is a screenshot of what it is that the CEO is experiencing. And so now we're going to try and troubleshoot that flaky API. So synthetics can be used for more than just proactive monitoring. So let's open the DataDog application again. Oh no, why do I have a 502? Oh, it's because the new section just loaded. So let's give it a second. I'm going to give it a minute and let it get up and running again. Everybody else good? No other 502s? If it does happen, it'll resolve itself, hopefully. Thumbs up if you've got DataDog. Cool. All right. So let's scroll down to where the ad is here. It may or may not. Oh, you still have a 502? Give it a minute. We see the ads working, but let's refresh a few times. You can see that sometimes the ad doesn't show up. It'll say ad here. So you know it's not happening all the time. So what do we know about this ad issue? So the CEO was served an empty ad on the homepage. We know that they use a desktop browser. Most people on the team can't recreate the issue. And our ads come from an ad service application programming interface, API, that an internal team maintains. So the issue presents itself visually in the UI on larger screens. It's intermittent, which means it's possibly a region, a device, a browser, network, etc. specific issue. And we know that there is an API endpoint that is supposed to serve ads to the homepage. So the issue could exist on smaller screens, but we know for sure that our CEO's error was specifically on a larger screen. So what we could test is we can monitor for the existence of the element on the UI. You can monitor from multiple devices, regions, etc. And you can monitor that API endpoint. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start by creating a synthetic API test that monitors our ads endpoint from multiple browsers and multiple regions. So what I want you to do is navigate to UX monitoring synthetic tests. You can either click that link or you can go UX monitoring synthetic tests on the left-hand side menu here. And then what we're going to do is create a new API test button. So you can see that we need a URL here. And so what we're going to do is actually create a global variable so that we can keep on accessing this URL. I can copy and paste this command over here on the terminal to get the URL. It's a little bit hard to copy and paste stuff from Instruct, so you can also click on these and then just copy it out of your browser. So now what we're going to do is navigate to UX monitoring, settings, global variables, which you can get to from clicking the URL, or UX monitoring, settings, and then global variables here on the left. And we're going to create a new global variable, and it is going to be named DataDog ads URL. This is URL for the DataDog ads service. And the value is going to be that URL that we just generated. And go ahead and hit save. So now we'll be able to access this. I'm going to go back to the create and refresh just in case the variable hasn't populated. We already created some of the variables for a couple of the URLs that you'll need during the workshop, so don't worry about keeping track of them. Rick, go. So now we are back on the synthetics test, and we are going to create a test using that global variable we just created, which is the DataDog ads URL. You can go ahead and hit send to make sure that it is working for you. And then you should see the response over here on the right. Apologies for the cat. He has a hairball. Cool. All right. So we have our request. What we're actually going to do here is get rid of the response time assertion, just because don't worry about that right now. Oh my goodness. And what we're going to do is create a new assertion that is going to be checking, oh, I forgot to set the name for the thing. This is going to be DataDog ads service health check. And the assertion that we are going to do is we want to make sure that the body JSON path length is not 0. And so this is kind of just tricking it to make sure that we are actually getting a response here and that we are getting some of these objects in our ads response. So we want to make sure that it is able to hit that and is returning. We're going to keep all of the locations here, but what we do want to do is just have it run every 5 minutes. You can have it run faster than that, but we're going to come back and check it later. So all this stuff will start populating. And then we can move down here and hit create. And you want to make sure that in the top right-hand corner here, this does not say play. Or run, you want it to say pause. If it doesn't say that, click on it so that it doesn't. Don't be alarmed if your tests are failing and are red. We're going to narrow down if it exists in the API or the browser layer. So we're going to come back, let this run. We'll check back in a couple minutes and be able to see what our ad service health check is checking on. But now let's set up one of those additional checks so that we can allow this to generate some of the data. So I'm going to close this for now. And we are going to move on to setting up a synthetics browser test. So we already set up the monitoring for our ads API endpoint, and now we're going to set up monitoring the UI so that we can narrow it down if it is the client side or the server side problem. So like I said in the intro, synthetic tests can also be used to simulate specific user flows. Before you set up your synthetic browser test, we do need to adjust the settings. So we're going to head to UX monitoring settings, integration settings. And we are going to copy the URL here and enter the following wildcard URL into the APM integration for browser tests input. So you're going to type that in here and hit Save APM Integration Testings. Also, you would want to make sure that the default application is for DataDog. All right. So now we're going to set up that synthetics test. Let's head to UX monitoring synthetics test, which you can get by that URL, or you can get by going to UX monitoring synthetics tests here. And we are going to hit new test. And this time we are going to be creating a browser test. So we are going to set our test details by using a variable that we created for you, and that is the DataDog URL. We're going to name this test DataDog ads service rendering. We are going to test for all locations. We don't need Edge. You can just test laptop large for Chrome and Firefox. And then down here in scheduling and alert conditions, we are going to set it for 5 minutes. And we are going to hit save and edit recording. So what we're going to do here now is make sure that the collect RUM data for this test button is unchecked. That's just so we don't have our own tests populating in the RUM data. And we're going to set up a little test here. So we know that it's the ads thing that we're having issues with. So what we're going to do is over here in the dropdown, set it to laptop large because we know that the CEO was having that issue on a laptop or a desktop, it's a non-mobile issue for the information that we have. And then what we're going to do is set up a special action, and we're going to want it to wait. This is because we want to be able to give the ad service enough time to render. And so we're going to have it wait 10 seconds before we move to the next step. And we're going to hit apply there. And now we're going to create a new assertion. And that assertion is going to be testing that an element is present because it's the ad that we are wanting to check for. So what you can do over here on the right side is click on the ad for the ad service, and you can see over here on the left-hand side that it gives us the image for the target element. One of the things that you want to keep in mind when you I forgot to hit this. No, I didn't. Okay, my bad. When you're testing for this stuff, if you are testing for something that an API is serving up, and it's specifically ads, a lot of the images for different things are going to be different depending on whatever it's showing at the moment. So we don't really want to be checking for this image that it's serving us. We are going to want to check for the CSS selector that is wrapping that kind of content. So what we're going to do is enter the selector for that, which is main, flex, row, justify, center, picture, image. And then I can test this and it goes to the same location. So we know that the CSS selector is correct. And we are going to hit apply. And so what we also want to do is change the name of this step to just be a little bit more helpful, which is check if ad is visible. So we'll redo that. And then, so now we have the test and we can hit save and launch. So what our test is saying is once we get on this page, we're going to wait 10 seconds and then check if the ad is visible. And so we will come back and take a look at this, much like our other synthetics test that we set up. So now we've configured the browser and the API synthetics tests for our ads. And we're going to kind of explore a little bit more about what you can tell about user journeys from our RUM data. So we can give more time for those tests to run, and we'll be able to take a look at that. And so what we're going to look at now are user funnels. So I'm going to close this test, head to the next section, give it a second for it to load. So like I said, we're going to be looking at user funnels, which is really helpful in a way that you can model how your user flow is going through your application. So you can understand where drop-off occurs. This is really helpful for not just devs, but also for product managers and marketing and ways that people might want to see like what products are doing better than others and where we are getting people, not successfully adding to cart or not having people take the paths that we want them to. Yeah, like I said, tracking changes in conversion rates can be critical tools for understanding that actual health of your application. And RUM lets you use your RUM sessions to visualize that aggregated traffic across each step in your journey. So let's take a look and get one of those. Oh, I clicked the docs. You know what? Let's just get here from How I Know. The way that you can get to that is UX monitoring, funnel analysis. And we're going to set up a funnel here to see, maybe what is happening with some of our stickers, what's happening with people that are having a slow time. And so what we're going to do here is you can see that we generate by default some suggestions for you on how to start your funnel. This is going to be dependent on whatever your application is. It can tell kind of because of your user data what are the most popular pages or give you suggestions based off of the step. And so what we're going to do is start here with the search page. And when I clicked on that, it automatically set it up as the first step in my funnel analysis. And so what I'm going to do next is I want to see, all right, from search, let's pick a product. Let's choose Bits by Dre. All right, so there's a 90% drop off. So that isn't great. So let's go and from the Bits by Dre sticker, we're going to say, all right, from that page, how many people have added product to the cart? So now we see with our next step in the funnel that out of the 10% that we still have on the page, 100% of those, which are going to product added to cart. That's pretty good. But once they add to the cart, are they actually successfully checking out? And so what we're going to do now is I actually don't see it over here on my actions, which is a great way for me to show you how I can add it manually. And so what I'm going to do is click on the plus sign here, and I want to add another action that is going to be successful checkout under actions. So what this one is now telling me that in the past day, 346 sessions of 822 total moved from my search page to the Bits by Dre product. Out of that, 33 sessions added the product to cart, and out of that, 18 people successfully checked out. So this is pretty informational here, and what we're going to do is click on View Funnel Analysis, which gives us, I have to move my Zoom thing, a view here of the end-to-end conversion and the conversion rate over time. It has all of the steps that we added in that funnel. This is really helpful. So now what we're going to do is on the share page. Oh, no, I clicked the wrong thing. What we're going to do is look at the funnel analysis and click on share, save to dashboard back here. I'm going to create a new one. Just click on new dashboard. And then I can view that dashboard. And I can see that funnel here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. You can drag on the corner to be able to do that. So this information is good, but maybe we want to add a little bit more so that we can cross-reference that. So let's head back to the conversion rate. And what we're going to do is here on product added to cart, we're going to click on this and, oh, wait, sorry, on this page on product added to cart. If we click on that one, we get analysis for then that step here. And I want to share the conversion rate metric for this specific step on my dashboard. So I'm going to click on the export here. Oh, I'm sorry, the conversion rate one. And I'm going to save to the same dashboard that I just created, which you'll now be able to see in the dropdown. And we're going to export that. And now if we come back to the dashboard that we created and refresh it, you'll see the conversion rate widget as well. So being able to add some of the stuff so that you can see it alongside each other is super helpful, but I'm going to go a little bit further, and we want to set up a monitor for this so that we are able to know when that conversion rate is dropping. So back here in the conversion rate, I'm going to click, back here on the conversion rate, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to create a monitor. You'll see that it automatically defines the search query for you as you share and create the monitor. And so what we're going to do is configure the alert conditions down here. And what we want to do is trigger when the evaluated value is below the threshold that we're setting up. And so the alerting threshold that we're going to do is below 30, and it's going to be a warning when it's below 50. And what we're going to do is notify our team and be like, hey, search conversion, and say the conversion rate for users adding products to their cart from the search page is dropping. And I spelled products wrong. So once I create this, you can set whatever teams you want to notify. You can also export the monitor. You can create it. I'm going to create this so that I am able to alert my team. Now that we also have this monitor created, we're also going to export it. Oh, wait. I lost my page. 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so we added the conversion rate to the dashboard. We set up the monitor. We're notifying the team. Okay. We save that to the dashboard. Oh. Back here on the dashboard, also, you can edit the titles if you want by clicking the little pencil here and being able to change what the title is. So this is Bits by Dre Conversion Funnel. You can also change the names of the monitors as well. and add a lot more information as you see. There's so much you can do here. You can also add custom widgets from the side. That there could be a separate workshop all around setting up custom dashboards, which there actually is another workshop that is all around that. It's not this one, so I won't get into it. And we're gonna move forward to the next section. There's actually going to be a little pop quiz, and then we are going to take a break. So let's review what we learned about synthetics. Which of these statements about synthetics is true? Synthetics measure what your users are actually doing in your application. Synthetics cannot record session replays, or synthetics can be used to programmatically monitor your API endpoints. That is correct. It is synthetics can be used to programmatically monitor your API endpoints. I'm going to click next so that I can load our next challenge. But it is going to be break time. So we're going to take a 10-minute break, come back at 25 after. If anybody needs anything or has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. But grab some snacks, drink some water, move around a bit. We still have a lot of content to go over, and we will start back up in 9 minutes, 10 minutes. All right. We'll get started in another minute. If everybody's back, give me a thumbs up. Cool. All right. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is user experience. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is frustration signals. They help you identify points of friction that your users experience while using your application. They can usually be overlooked because they happen on the client side. And there are 3 frustration signals that DataDog's RUM integration collects and tags. And those 3 are dead clicks, rage clicks, and error clicks. Dead clicks are clicks on an element that has no interaction. So, somebody might think that it's an ad or a product or something, and they go to click on something and it's not actually a link. So by tracking dead clicks, you could be like, okay, maybe there's something in my UI here that is confusing to my users. There's rage clicks, which is whenever anyone clicks on an element more than 3 times in 1 second. So if you have slow loading times or, stuff that's not working there and you get people clicking on multiple items, that's a rage click. And then there's also error clicks, which are clicks on an element that is followed by a JavaScript error. So we're going to take a look and see what's going on with our application here. So what I want you to do, I'm going to actually close my other links here, and I want you to navigate to UX monitoring, real user monitoring, analytics summary. So we already looked at this page a little bit earlier. We talked about frustration signals a little bit earlier. I just touched on them when we were looking at the dashboard, but let's scroll down to the finding frustrations widget here. And you can see that the search page has a lot of frustration signals. So what we're going to do is click on the most frustrating actions here, which I will show you again one more time where that is from. So you can get to this page from UX Monitoring Analytics Summary. And once you're on Analytics Summary, scroll down to the Finding Frustrations widget and click on the most frustrating actions sessions. And so now that we're on here, you can see that there's a lot of dead clicks. And so what we want to do is click on that action frustration type and click on view. I'm sorry, I keep on clicking that, and click on view events. So what this is doing now is it's showing us a list of a lot of our sessions between September 12th at 10:28 a.m. and September 13th at 10:28 a.m. All of these sessions where there has been a dead click. And what we can do now is be able to look and see what exactly was happening with this user session replay. So the really cool thing about session replay is that when you get to this view from one of your user's actions, whether or not that is specifically a frustration signal or any other user action that you are querying on, it automatically takes you to that point in the user journey of when they got that dead click. So let's take a look and start over. How long is this session? Okay, we're not going to watch the whole session because it's 58 seconds long, but you can click play and see. Let's drag a little bit to before the dead clicks happened. So we know that they happened here. So now that I'm playing, I can see my user clicked on that, and it's going to pause at the broken dead link. If I go to start of session, it's going to reset that journey. And let's speed up a little bit. And yeah, one other thing that's helpful here is you can click on Dev Tools, and it will pop up a lot of information that you can then give to your devs to cross-reference that error. And you can also use, the console, the errors, attributes to be able to cross-reference what is happening in the user session to be able to help troubleshoot if you have a ticket or something like that. So let's see if we can recreate this error inside StoreDog. So we're going to close these two and open up StoreDog again. And what we're going to do is click on the All Products link. And we can see the cool bits thing here. And what we're going to do is click on the product, and I'm clicking now and I see that it's not loading. Okay, why is that happening? So let's head back to our frustration signals dashboard. And one thing to notice about these products, if I click on the image, it doesn't work. But if I click on the title, then I can get into my product. So I'm like, all right, there's an issue there. So now that we're back on the frustration signals dashboard, we are going to go and take a look at the Finding Frustration widget. And once we are here, we are going to click on a dead click for, it doesn't really matter which product, it's just kind of, we're looking for the dead click frustration type here. And what we're going to do is click on a dead click for a product from the search page, and we are going to view RUM events from that. So once we view the events, we get back to originally where we started of looking at the frustrations for the dead clicks. And so what I'm going to do now is click a play for the session again, and I'm going to build an incident for whenever, or a monitor for whenever these dead clicks happen. So now that I'm in here, I am going to, sorry, my Zoom tools are getting in the way again. What I'm going to do is open up my widget clipboard, which is something that's really cool that DataDog has. You can access that by, if you're on a Mac, doing Command-Shift-K. And what that's going to do is open up a clipboard so that you can save a lot more of basically everything that we've been talking about today and be able to share it to things a little bit easier. And so what I'm going to do is add the current page here. And what I'm going to do now is go back to the filtered list of the dead clicks here, and I am going to open up that keyboard again and also add this page to it as well. So now that I have these two pages saved in my widget clipboard, I am going to actually export these items to another incident so that I can notify my team. And I'm going to call this one search page products are not clickable, and I'm going to set this as severity 2, and I'm going to declare an incident much like we did before, and I'm going to empty the widget clipboard in case I want to add some stuff in there earlier. On Windows, you would do it by Control-Shift-K. Sorry, I forgot to say that. So Command-Shift-K for Mac and Control-Shift-K for Windows. So we declared an incident that search page products are not clickable. And now we've explored the application's user experience with session replay and frustration signals. And now we're going to revisit our user funnels to understand the impact that our discount code issue might be having. So what we're going to do is close all of these and move on to the next section, which is user funnels revisited. So like before, funnel analysis can be used to analyze differences in conversion rates between different versions of your application. And we know that there's an issue with discount errors. So let's go through how we are going to move through this one. So let's go to UX monitoring, real user monitoring, performance summary, or performance monitoring, which you can get to by clicking this URL, or you can go UX monitoring performance summary here. So, all right, we're on this view. We're looking for the past day, and we're going to scroll down to the Analyze API Endpoints issue. We can see that there is an error with our discount code. It's one of the top resource path errors. much like our ads, which we're also trying to troubleshoot and we'll come back to. So what we're going to do is click on discount code, and we want to see errors from discount code. So one thing here within our lab environment, when you click on that, a lot of the stuff up here is broken. It may not be, but just for the sake of it, we're gonna get rid of it. I know that isn't very helpful, but it's an issue that we had been noticing and can't really replicate it, which is, funny since that's what this workshop is about. So I'm going to help you rebuild that query as if it would automatically populate for you, which it does when you are not in the lab environment. And so what we're going to do is we want to set it so that our filtering for resource status is going to be 500. So we can see a lot of our 500 errors there. And we also want to set it to resource URL path group is the discount code. And we also want this to be for, I believe, session type user. So this is what it should look like. Oh, this one actually needs to be is greater than or equals to, but it doesn't really matter too much. All right, so now that we have this in here, we are going to click on one of the 500 errors. Oh, this needs to be a list. I'm sorry about that. We're going to click onto one of these errors, and when this comes up, you get a lot of information. You have a lot of your default stuff that's gathered by RUM for this specific user session. Also, these emails are totally fake, not a real person. Just happens to be a real domain name. Some more of our system information and all of this stuff in here. And what we're going to do now is click on View Trace in APM from that view. So now that we have the View Trace button, we are going, sorry, my Zoom tools keep on blocking my view. We're going to open that widget keyboard again and do Command-Shift-K. And we are going to add the current page to save the link to this trace. And then what we're going to do is click on the SQL queries tab. And from there, we are going to view the query in APM. And we are going to open the widget clipboard again and add this current page. And now we are going to, oh, did I forget a step? I'm so sorry. No, I didn't. I just lost my place. Sorry about that. So now what we're going to do, if we wanted to share those with the same way that we did before with the monitors or add them to a dashboard, we would do that. But for now, they're going to stay in our clipboard, and we are going to close those windows and head back to our dashboard that we created from the conversion rates earlier. And so we're going to get to that by going to our dashboards list. And here's the one that I created. This has my conversion rates from before. And what I'm going to do is add a new a new widget for drop-off rates. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. There's just so much text in here. I lost my place again. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you add more things from the widget page here. So what we're going to do now is click on Add Widgets, and we are going to choose the funnel widget from here. I showed you before how you create it from the funnel page, but now we're going to add the drop-off rates from the widget. Did I? Oh, we're doing the discount codes. That's right. I apologize again. Sorry. What we're going to do is we are going to add some new steps since we know that those APM traces for the discount codes that we just looked at with the view traces showed that there were issues there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to configure a funnel that also reflects the discount codes. All right, I'm back on track. Sorry. So what we're going to do now is create the funnel from this view. And the first step that we're going to have is we're going to have this be an action. And the action is click on proceed to checkout and add an additional step. That is another action. And that is click on apply discount. And we are going to have an additional action that says successful checkout. And we're going to give the title for our graph discount code conversions. Oh, wrong field. Cool. And then we are going to save that. So if I close that funnel, you can now see, I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller and make this one bigger since this is the one that we are focusing on now. Much like you remember us doing before, but now we're doing the discount code conversions instead of the product conversions. Let's take a look at this funnel step, and we are going to analyze it. So now we are looking at, one more time in case I went too fast, on applied discount, choose Analyze Funnel. And if nothing happens when you click on that, you might need to refresh your browser again or wait, for it to populate. So from here, we can see the conversion rates and the converted sessions by version. And so what we're going to do in converted sessions by version is copy this, close the funnel analysis, and we are going to click the share button for, oh, I lost my place again. Oh, we're clicking the share button for the discount code conversions widget that we just created. And we are also going to copy this as well. This is the same as it's adding it all to our clipboard now. So we have all of these things in here. Apologies, we're getting into really meatier, longer sections. So I'm going to maybe lose my place because I'm trying to follow along. So now we have those traces that say that our APM discount codes aren't working. We have the discount code conversions, and these are all in here. So now that we know we have the funnel on our dashboard, we want to declare another incident because this is issues with our discount rates now. So what we're going to do is click on declare incident again and say, hey, discount codes don't work. And that is a severity level of 1 because, we're not making conversions for our product. People are not able to type in the discount code. Sometimes people might be trying to type in discount codes that they think work all of the time, like free shipping or 50 off. Like, you may have read articles about people who have written browser extensions that just have lists of these default discount codes that people have been using as like testing and stuff like that. So if we set up this, then, that might be one of the reasons. Or maybe we sent out an email that had a discount code in it and that didn't work. So now I'm going to declare that incident. And back here on the widget, I'm going to hit empty so that I get a starting place if I need to go forward and create some more stuff. So sorry, I got a little bit off track there, but now that we've explored more of the funnel analysis and given our team some insight into where our users are dropping off, where the discount codes aren't working, we're going to go back to the synthetic tests that we created earlier to analyze some of our data. So I'm going to close these now and move on to the next section. And there is going to be a pop quiz again. This one is going to take a second to load. Cool. So let's review what we've learned about RUM. Which of these statements about RUM is true? RUM can be used to test your API endpoints. RUM can be used to create funnels that monitor common user journeys, or RUM simulates user browsing activity to test common user flows. Anyone want to guess? It is the second one. RUM can be used to create funnels that monitor common user journeys. All right. Moving on to analyzing our synthetic test results. So now that our API tests have had plenty of time to run for a little bit and generated enough data for us to diagnose and investigate the findings, hopefully I set them up right. We're going to take a look into those. Give it another minute for the next step to load. Cool. Let's hit start. So what we're going to do now is head to UX monitoring synthetics tests. Mine are failing a lot. I hope that's because I set them up correctly. I'm sure I did. All right. So what we're going to do now is on this page, we are going to click on the dashboards dropdown and head to API test performance. You can see we've got 253 synthetic API test runs, and out of those test runs, it's an 84% success rate. So that's pretty good. Good to know. And so what we're going to do now is head back to dashboards, dashboard list, and you'll see the synthetics browser test performance link. Oh, we just did that. I repeated myself. Yeah. So success rate is good. What I meant was now we're going to go to UX monitoring synthetic tests and check the StoreDog's ad service health check. So what we're going to do is click on the health check. And from here, if we scroll down, we can see all of our test runs. We've got some passing, we've got some failing. What we're going to do is click on the failed test filter here. And what we want to do is click on any one of the failed tests. I'm going to pick, oh, doesn't matter which one, any of them works. And once I'm on this failed test, I want to know about my response details. So once I open that response details, I get some info back. You know, it was a status code error 500, sent me some headers, just, you know, general internal server error. Because we did have that test run that said the JSON path length should not be 0. Obviously, we got no response from this test. And so what we're going to do now is declare an incident for this kind of behavior that we're experiencing. Obviously, we're getting used to declaring incidents by now. There's a lot of different ways to get there. So hopefully you're figuring out all the different ways that you can be able to notify your team whenever there's issues. So this we're going to call intermittent adds 500 response. And that is going to be a severity level of 3. And I am going to declare an incident there. You can also then describe in more detail here, add impact. You can add a chat if you want. There's a lot of different options that you can do once you're inside the incidents. Obviously, add other responders, lots and lots more that you can do. So now we expose the results of our synthetic test or synthetic API tests, and we created an incident for my team to manage. So now we're going to move on to critical user flows through testing coverage and custom actions. So let's move forward. This one is a little meaty, so I'm going to take a second for this one to load as well. Actually, I am going to grab another coffee. So we're doing good on time. We are almost done. This is the last section. It is the longest one with the most steps so far. So I'm actually gonna, it's 10:54. We're still doing good on time, 10:55 or whatever your time zone 55 is. So let's take a 5-minute break really quick, come back in 5 minutes and wrap up with the last section and then head into our conclusion. I lost my mouse again. I'm going to go ahead and hit start just because we can get that up and running. And yeah, be back in 5 minutes. Cool. Give it 30 more seconds. Awesome. All right, so this is our last section. Like I said, it's a meaty one, so let's just jump right in. RUM automatically tracks user actions, but you can also create custom actions for important interactions that you want to track. This is a link to the documentation that goes over how you do that. You might want to do, if you have premium users, you can pass in that user value. If you have like a cart updated total, you can do that. Another workshop that we have talks about those custom user actions and how you can measure on them. Those also help for specific conversion rates on if you have custom products aside from, normal stuff that RUM tracks out of the box. And this documentation page goes over how you can instrument your code with that, and then how you can create facets and measures from those custom attributes in there. So you can click on that from the first section here in the introduction. All right, so we are going to start out with the test coverage dashboard. And so the test coverage dashboard lets you leverage RUM and synthetics data to give you an idea of what customers are doing and which workflows and actions need more testing. Rick, sit back down. All right, so what we're going to do is navigate to UX monitoring synthetics tests by either clicking that link or going to UX monitoring synthetics tests from here. And from this page, we are going to click on the test coverage tab here. And what we're going to do is change the action type to custom, because we have some custom actions in there, and it looks like we're covering about 60% of our real user interactions here. So what we're going to do is change the action type filter by clicking on custom, and then from there we are going to scroll down here to the untested actions, and there's only 4. But there's 5 total actions. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new test so that we're able to, cover our bases. So what we're going to do now is go back to UX monitoring and click on new test. And we are going to create a browser test. I'm going to resize my window for this one because we will have a pop-up open. And so what we're going to do is in the test details, we are going to cover the StoreDog URL. And we are going to call this test Cool Bits User Flow. We are going to pick just, Chrome and Firefox, and we're going to uncheck Americas and Asia Pacific and just have it be EMEA. We are going to define the scheduling and alert conditions to 5 minutes, just like we were for the other ones. You can set the frequency to whatever you want. You're using it as a proactive monitor and not trying to quickly generate a large amount of data to analyze stuff like the other synthetics tests that we've created. And now what we're going to do is we are going to also, now we are going to click the Save and Edit Recording button. We want to make sure that the Collect RUM Data for this test button is unchecked. And we are going to then click on Start Recording for the browser test. So what we're going to do is allow the page and the discount code certain, enough time to load. So what we're going to do is click on Special Actions and click on Wait. And we are going to set it to be 10 seconds before moving to the next step. And we are going to click Apply. And now we're going to abstract the discount code. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to click on the Variables button. And inside the variables, we are going to create a variable from an element. And that variable name is going to be discount code in all caps with an underscore in between it. And we are going to click select element. And now we are going to click the bold discount code in the get free shipping with discount code box. And so now you can see that it is called extract discount code in our steps over here. Sorry, I lost my spot. Okay, so if you're not able to select an element when you get to that step, one thing that you can also do is over here, you can click on open in pop-up and you can be recording from this page and it'll be reflected in the journey on the left-hand side. Let me know or type in the chat if that doesn't work. So, all right, we have it set up to wait 10 seconds. Then we're extracting the text from the discount code. And now we're going to click on this and actually rename it. And we're going to call that step is extract discount code. We're going to also go into advanced options. If you remember the earlier test that we set up when we were selecting the ads, when we clicked on that, it gave us the actual image for the ad. Just like this one, it's grabbing the HTML element, but it's also grabbing the contents. And so since we don't want all of that, we just want to, once again, set a CSS selector so that we're able to only get the wrapper and whatever the contents of that is. So what we're going to do in here is add in a selector for discount code. And then if you hit test, it should also be able to successfully locate that on the right-hand side, just like we did for the ad one before. And so I also want you to uncheck the if user specified locator fails, fail test checkbox. And we are going to continue with the test if this step fails. And we are going to uncheck consider entire test as failed if this step fails, I believe. Let me just double check. Click the test button, uncheck if user specified locator fails failed test, yes. And then we are going to check the continue with test if this step fails, yep. And uncheck the consider entire test as failed if this step fails one. Yes, awesome. And now we're going to apply that assertion back to the test. And what we're going to do now is also create an invalid discount code variable. So what we're going to do here is click on variables, and we are going to call this variable name invalid. And the value is going to be test. We're going to add that variable. And now what we're going to do is click on the open pop-up next to the fit screen dropdown. And we are going to, let me resize this so that we can see it. All right. What we're going to do, yeah, so like some applications like StoreDog, the functionality doesn't work properly inside of the test recording UI, but you can use the open and pop-up button to open it in a new window, and DataDog will use that test recording browser extension that we had to record our test in a new window where everything should work. I wasn't supposed to click stop recording. No, we're still recording. Is this going to work? All right. Okay. So what we're going to do now in here is purchase a cool bits sticker in the pop-up. So what we're going to do, oh, I forgot a step. Hold on. No, I didn't. We're good. Okay. So we are going to click on cool bits. Awesome. You can see that when we clicked on this, it was reflected over here on the click on span cool bits. And what we're going to do now is click on add to cart. And then we are going to proceed to checkout. And what we're going to do now is focus on the discount code input. And we're going to enter a invalid discount code. So what we're going to do is switch back over to this UI. And now we are going to click on the arrow. Are you okay? Sorry, my cat is coughing. Sorry. Enter an invalid discount code. Focus on the discount code input. Yes. Click on input discount code. Switch back to the UI. Click the arrow down next to the variables. That's why I was thrown off. It was already open. So we've got the invalid test and the discount code test. So what we're going to do is click on the inject button for the invalid variable, which is this one right here. And now we are going to switch back to the pop-up and we are going to click on the discount code. You can see that it injected the test one, and now we are going to click on apply discount. And we're going to switch back to the test over here. We're going to click stop recording. And so we also want to make sure that we allow the discount code enough time to be entered. So we're going to add a special actions, wait. We're going to wait 10 seconds before moving to the next step. Hit apply. And now we're going to configure the discount code input. So what we're going to do is click on the discount code, configure the discount code input by clicking on this one. Text on input discount code. And in here, we're going to change the step name to enter invalid discount code. Oops. Code. And from there, we're going to click on the advanced options. And much like the previous steps that we did when we were trying to target that more specific internal part of the content, is we're going to call it the CSS selector input name equals discount code. And don't forget the ending bracket. We're going to test that. Successfully located it. And then we're going to hit apply. What we're going to do for the enter invalid discount code step is we're going to copy that. And we are going to paste another copy of it with Command V, which you can see we're then waiting for it to end. And what we're going to do from there is configure that new discount code input. And so what we're going to do is click on the new enter invalid discount code input. And we are going to call this step name clear invalid discount code. The value is going to be empty. We're going to click on advanced options again if it's not open. It's going to be the same CSS selector, the input name discount code test. And then we are going to hit apply again. And after we set up the clear discount code, we're going to let that have enough time to clear. So we're going to click on the special actions button again, click on wait 10 seconds before moving to the next step, hit apply. And then we are going to paste another copy of the enter invalid discount code step with a Command V again, because it's still in our copy keyboard clipboard. And we are going to configure that. And we are going to call this step enter valid discount code. And the value that we want instead of invalid is discount code, which we defined in step 2. So you can click on it when you type on that in there. Advanced options, open again. Using the same CSS selector that was already in there before. We want to go ahead and test to make sure that it is finding it, and it is. And then we are going to click apply. And we also want to allow enough time for the valid discount code to be populated. So we're going to click on special actions again. Wait, you got it, 10 seconds. And now we are going to click start recording again. And what we're going to do now is click on the apply discount button. We're going to click on confirm purchase. We are going to switch back to the DataDog UI again and click on stop recording. And we're going to allow the checkout enough time to process. So we're going to add another special action. It's going to be a wait. It's going to be 10 seconds, just like it was before and all the other times. And then we're going to configure an assertion that the checkout was successful. So what we're going to do is configure an assertion that an element's content, click the test and element's content, yes. And so now we're going to switch back to this, and we want to click on the thank you for your purchase text in the shopping cart. I'm going to switch back over to this window again, and we are going to hit apply. And we also want to add a delay between applying the discount code and checking out. So what we're going to do is click on the special actions button, set it up for wait. It's going to be 10 seconds. And hit apply. But we're going to drag this in between the click on button, apply discount, and the confirm purchase steps. So you can drag all of these around with the little, I don't know what those menus are called, the little dots over there. And then we are going to close this StoreDog window, and we are going to save and launch our test. So now that our tests are running, in a few minutes, you should be able to see the test coverage dashboard update to reflect those new tests. If you don't remember where those test coverage dashboards are, you can go to UX monitoring, synthetics tests, the test coverage tab. If you remember, those were custom actions that we set up, and it hasn't populated yet since we're still waiting for those to run, but those would be in here. And so down in the untested actions site, if we scroll to tested actions, where did that go? It would update here once that test starts running. So yeah, now that we've identified and started proactively monitoring our critical user actions, you're pretty much done for all of the content that we're going to cover today. There is one additional section in here that I'll show you in a moment. We're not going to go over it just because it's a lot more, but you can come back to this workshop, walk yourself through it in its own pace, be able to check out the bonus stage for the multi-step API testing. A lot of stuff in here. But yeah, so since it has a lot more involvement, I'll allow you to go over it on your own. And then let's just get wrapped up. One moment. I lost another window. All right. So let's quickly recap what we did today and what we learned. We created a global variable for a synthetic test. We used synthetics to test an API and the browser. We explored performance metrics and used them to find some potential issues slowing down our website. We discovered some frustration signals that were preventing users from checking out, modeled the potential user drop-off with a funnel analysis. We tracked down where an intermittent and hard to pin down bug was coming from. We created a dashboard, monitors, some incidents to alert our team and help keep track of the various issues that we uncovered. That's a lot. I know that I've been talking for almost 2.5 hours straight. So don't worry if you can't remember all of that. You can still access all this stuff. There's more additional stuff to read. It's a lot to remember, so don't feel obligated if you already forgot some of the steps that we did. And don't forget that like today was all about inspiring you to think about how these tools could help you. Can they make your job easier? Can they make you look better at your job? How can they help your team? And those are the things that I want you to leave today with thinking about, not the specifics of how you implement a synthetic test or construct a user funnel for analysis. Like I said, we've got tons of documentation, blog posts, and a whole support team that can help you with that part. There is a public DataDog Slack where we answer questions and help anybody out. And can link you to some more information or whatever it is that you need. And that is going to bring us to the end of our content today. We spend a lot of time crafting these workshops specifically to help educate people, but we always want to make them better. And we take your feedback super seriously. Our customer education team lead, that is his email right there. He reads every response personally. So we really appreciate it if you took a few minutes to share your thoughts while it's fresh in your mind. So what could we do better? What could I do better? What could the product do better? You can also send some more thoughts later today or tomorrow if it's something else that comes to your mind. And yeah, thank you so much for being here and for listening to me this whole entire time. I hope everybody learned some new stuff today.